They became famous for their on-screen brawl, but the action really heated up once the cameras stopped rolling. A fraud cost Les Gold $500,000. Ashley, who was his daughter, left the family company. On top of that, one of the actors is raking in $900,000 a year from OnlyFans. Right now, 15 years after the premiere of Hardcore Porn, the cast members, the show's producers, and the Gold family's hidden feuds are finally coming to light. While viewing The Jerry Springer Show in 1998, TV producer Richard Dominic caught a Detroit-based commercial. A pawn shop owner called Les Gold was featured in it. A combination of Les's keen voice, commanding presence, and memorable energy made him an unforgettable performer. Even though Dominic remembered him, nothing materialized immediately. The transformation of that fleeting TV moment into a full-fledged series took almost a decade. Finally, Truth gave their approval in 2009. His porn business would be subject to surveillance if he had Les Gold. The plan was unpopular with his family. The idea of airing their daily lives and those of their clients on a national television show was unsettling to them. Regardless, they continued onward. The premiere of Hardcore Porn took place on August 16, 2010. On its initial airing, it attracted 2 million viewers. Thus, it became the most watched debut in the history of real television. Already famous in the Detroit area was the store American Jewelry and Loan. It debuted at the Green 8 Mall in 1978. The colossal 50,000 square foot site on 8 Mile Road was the new home in 1993. The building welcomed almost 1,000 customers every day. The show depicted the events as they actually transpired within. Clients were irate. Disagreements arose. Men in security had to intervene. Others were carried out shouting, while some threatened violence. The entire thing was recorded on video. Hardcore Porn displayed genuine tension in contrast to porn stars, which centered around rare artifacts and peaceful transactions. It was said by Les Gold to be honest. The show, in his opinion, authentically depicted the porn industry in a community where resources were limited and tensions were high. That strategy was effective. The show's average viewership had surpassed 3 million by June 2013. The sixth season finale was watched by 3.4 million people. Thus, it attracted the largest audience in the history of real television. Additionally, during its Tuesday time slot, it became cable television's most popular unscripted program. But in the end, nothing remains. Things began to shift in 2014. People weren't tuning in as they always have. Season 9 saw a steady decline in viewership. Some viewers started to get the impression that the broadcast wasn't as authentic as it had been. Scenes appeared to have been faked. Even the show's veracity was questioned by a critic from the New York Post. Everyone in the Gold family was in denial. The uncertainty persisted though. Rich Pyle, a popular presence in the shop, departed about the same time to host Meltdown, a new show on National Geographic. It seemed like the show was beginning to crumble even more after he left. A big change was already in the works at True TV behind the scenes. The network's new president, Chris Lynn, took office in May 2013. He thought there was an unhealthy obsession with fighting on the channel. Something more airy was what he sought. He declared a complete rebranding in April 2014. Comedy took front stage. Already popular, Impractical Jokers served as a template for the network's future programming goals. Way More Fun was True TV's campaign launch in October 2014, and the network briefly changed its name to the new True TV. Realistic television shows didn't mesh with that strategy. The actors all went their separate ways when the series concluded. Even though many companies were still reeling from the pandemic in 2021, Les Gold was busy growing. The Southgate, Lincoln Park, and Hazel Park pawn shops were his new ventures. There was some planning behind this. Even as early as 2019, Les expressed his desire to expand beyond the 8-mile road in Detroit. The strategy was complete. That was just the right moment. The price of commercial real estate hit a new low not seen in decades. Deals were quickly signed by property owners. Deals involving Southgate and Lincoln Park were the most challenging. For months, negotiators toiled. Nobody else was dispatched to deal with them by Les. He personally stepped in and finalized the deals in person. With the help of his son Seth, he took use of the family's reputation on television to negotiate favorable lease conditions. In order to attract customers, the developers sought to use famous names. Theirs was the Les. Similar to the first 50,000 square foot store in Detroit, the new locations followed the same format. Direct negotiating with clients was their primary focus. The similar strategy led to hardcore porn's success on TrueV. Nearly 200 people in Wayne County found work at the combined stores. Years before, towards the end of 2016, Les pulled a surprising stunt. On Food Network's Chopped, he made an appearance. A pawnbroker's entry into a high-stakes cooking competition was unexpected. As a child in Detroit, nevertheless, Les had mastered the art of cooking. Since his grandparents had a pawn store, he had to learn to cook for himself because his parents worked long hours. Basic dishes weren't his specialty. He learned traditional Mediterranean cuisine from his grandfather. He couldn't shake those. Les showcased those abilities to the Chopped judges. As a commercial transaction, he viewed the culinary challenge. No panic, just quick thinking and clear options. He revealed a new side of himself, even though he lost. The Detroit flagship store was the site of a charity auction in December 2022, thanks to Les. The Heat and Warmth Fund was the intended beneficiary of the proceeds. It was known as Hardcore Thor. He was able to raise $40,000 within 3 hours. The 25 objects that the local celebrities and athletes had donated were auctioned off by him. An autographed Red Wings jersey was one of the most valuable prizes, fetching $7,800. The auction was organized by Les in the same manner as his business. He made quick deals, applied direct pressure, and acted boldly. People there reported he was the center of attention the entire time. Les personally contributed the last $5,000 when the amount reached $35,000. Quiet, unassuming, and focused on getting things done. He made it quite apparent that money was simply one factor. Assisting individuals in surviving the harsh Michigan winter was the main focus. The news about the disastrous business agreement from 2018 is where the bankruptcy rumor originated. A fraud cost Les $500,000. However, he remained untarnished. There was no change to his net worth of $5 million by 2025. Every one of the pawn shops remained open. For what it's worth, his book has climbed to the position of number 4 on the bestseller list of the New York Times. In 2009, Seth Gold didn't merely accept a position within the family firm. He brought a fresh perspective when he joined American Jewelry and Loan. For many years, his father, Les, had been the shopkeeper. While his father failed to notice something, Seth did. The company's web presence was non-existent. This chasm emerged at a time when digitization was accelerating across all industries. It was Seth's decision to repair. The company's first e-commerce platform was launched by him. There was a time when it was a bold move. There was still a strong emphasis on walk-in consumers at most pawn shops. However, Seth had faith in the concept. The effort eventually paid off. Sales processed online increased rapidly. 30% of the company's income came from digital operations by 2018. That modification improved the store's operations in more ways than one. There was a 9-hour window when the actual store was open. The virtual shop was open all the time. Their impetus was fueled by that growth. Hazel Park and Pontiac were 2 of their newer locations. A yearly growth rate of 20% was now within reach for the business. Their whole income jumped into the $5 to $10 million bracket. That was a huge step for a Detroit pawn shop, but Seth wasn't finished yet. He was honored with the title of National Pawnbroker of the Year at the 2013 Pawn Expo in Las Vegas on July 17, 2013. It was the most prestigious honor bestowed by the sector. Sales weren't the only thing that had earned him it. In his efforts, he had managed to alter public perception of pawnshops. He advocated for more contemporary corporate methods, more robust community outreach, and improved media coverage. There was another unique aspect to the honor as well. It had been won by him, not his father. Despite Les Gold's legendary status, Seth was quickly emerging as the industry's brightest star. In 2014, Seth and Stefan Kogler embarked on a new venture together. Power to the Grid was the name given to it. People with autism participated in this job program. The objective was to find jobs that fit certain skills. In the pawn shop, they set up a training facility. Rather than relying solely on resumes, candidates were hired for their actual abilities. Michael Sancherico was among the initial people recruited. He was unemployed despite his photography and Photoshop expertise and degree from Western Michigan University. Seth extended an opportunity to him. Their web listings were enhanced thanks to Michael's efforts. Those funds weren't intended for relief. You may say it was an astute corporate move. Seth expressed it precisely. The workers weren't merely performing their jobs well. The company's growth was being aided by them. Something fresh, a second Detroit location, was in Seth's plans towards the end of 2018. This one is going to be unique. Things like expensive jewelry and timepieces would be the main attractions. Most of the consumers at the first 8 Mile location were not bank customers. Seth aimed to tap into a new market. He had gone over the numbers. Suddenly, silver and diamonds were generating 3 times as much revenue as gold in their stores. We could see the demand. Another stride was taken in 2019 as a result of the same emphasis on current tools. Seth and Pawnmate Inc. co-founded FastPawn, an online business that allowed borrowers to pay off or renew their loans without physically visiting the location. It simplified and accelerated the procedure. Moreover, it was in line with Seth's overarching objective. Without sacrificing its original viability, he aimed to modernize the pawn industry. From the very start, Ashley Gold was an integral element of hardcore pawn. Starting on August 16, 2010, the show continued till April 6, 2015. At American Jewelry and Loan, Ashley and her brothers Seth and Les worked side by side for 9 seasons and 16 episodes. Located on Detroit's 8 Mile Road, the store occupied a huge 150,000 square foot structure. From the outside looking in, it appeared to be a hectic business meeting full of bickering and deals. For Ashley, though, it transformed into something else totally. She had reached her limit by 2015. It was the same every day. Upon waking up, she would adhere to her regimen, which consisted of donning the identical black sweater, jeans, and shoes. She referred to it as her Groundhog Day moment in a 2016 interview. A combination of her deteriorating health, a crumbling family life, and an overwhelming lack of happiness led her to this realization. Ashley and Lee's relationship was fraught from the start. Their on-screen disagreements were never-ending. Things were just as bad behind the scenes. Regarding advertising, Seth had his personal views, less clinging to the past. At the center of it all was Ashley. The fact that the cameras weren't stopped adding insult to injury. The fights were all incorporated into the performance. The tension grew over time. She realized she couldn't remain by early 2015. It was difficult to go away. It has been in her family for generations. Being known as Les Gold's daughter wasn't Ashley's only desire either. A life apart was what she desired. She started pawn chick shopping later that year, 2015. She started it all on the internet with some new jewelry that she had chosen for herself. His primary responsibility, according to Seth Gold, was handling t-shirts and other basic items. Producers were already setting up cameras as soon as Bobby walked in. Even on the first day, he knew he was entering a realm beyond retail. Bobby became more involved when filming intensified. As time went on, what had begun as errands gradually became screen time. He adjusted fast. He was quite animated. Bobby stepped in to fill the void created by Rich Pyle's departure from the show.